everyone, welcome back to my channel. Well, I go by the name Larasati Bunga Kinasih, but many people call me Yayas. I'm a college student of Yogyakarta State University and I'm learning English literature. This video is for a final project of this house book report lecture. And in this video, I'm gonna review a book. The book that I'm going to review is one of my favorite books. It's entitled Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. It's actually the second book of the series. It's called The Hammer of Thor. This book was written by RIORDAN. RIORDAN is one of my favorite authors. I'm not gonna lie that I'm a huge fan of RIORDAN. I have read all of the series that written by RIORDAN like Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, Sadie Kane, and well, this is the last series of his book that I read. Actually, there is another series that was ongoing by him, by RIORDAN, but I haven't read it yet. It's called Trials of Apollo, but I haven't gotten the time to finish the series yet, so I haven't started another series. As I said before, it was a sequel of a book called The Sword of Summer. And because of that, I'm gonna give you some information from the previous book so that you will understand this plot in here as well. A book called Sword of Summer. I have already read that book, but I don't have it with me here, so I couldn't show it to you guys, but it has pretty cover just like this, but the dominant color of the cover is like pinkish purple and something, and it's so beautiful. So basically, the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series tells about a boy named Magnus Chase. Magnus is a demigod. He is a son of a Norse god called Frey. Frey is a god of peace, wealth, and harvest. And Magnus is an Inheri. Inheri in Norse mythology is like some kind of warrior that are prepared for Ragnarok. They are people that died heroically and they go straight to some place called Valhalla. So Valhalla is a place to train these warriors so that they, prepared for the Ragnarok. And Magnus is one of them, so yes, basically Magnus died already in the first book. And the book tells a story of Magnus' first quest with his Valkyrie friend called Samara. Oh, don't forget his two friends called Hearth and Blitzen. And in the first book, they have to search for Frey's sword called the Sword of Summer. And in this book, just like the title, they have to search for Thor's hammer, the Mjolnir. But before I go any further, I have to warn you guys that this video might contain a lot of spoilers. That's why if you haven't read the book, I suggest you to stop here and come back after you read the book. And as I said before, I'm a huge fan of RIORDAN, so this review might be a little biased, but I'm trying my best to be as objective as I can be. First of all, it started with a scene when Magnus talked with Annabeth. If you are a fan of RIORDAN, you wouldn't be unfamiliar with Annabeth Chase. She's a cousin of Magnus and she also was in RIORDAN's another book like Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus. So if you're a fan of RIORDAN and you already read another book of his, you wouldn't be unfamiliar with her. In the first chapter, they were talking about the two universe like Greek and Norse and also with a little bit of Roman. And I personally think that this chapter is kind of funny because it's two different words and they are casually talking about it. It's not supposed to be funny, but I found it funny because yeah. And then one of Thor's goats called Otis came to them and told them that Thor has lost his hammer. Actually, it's not the first time he lost his hammer, but this time it might be a little worse because one of the giants might be the one who stole it. And instead of using his power of thunder and trying to get it back, he told Otis to told Magnus to search for his hammer. Can you believe that? Yes, fellas, Thor in this universe is not as cool as Thor we seen in movies, and he's not as good looking as well. And long short story, Magnus began the searching of the hammer with his friends. There are Samira the Valkyrie, Hart the Elf, Blitzen the Dwarf, and last but not least, Alex, the new friend. Alex is a new character, but Alex is very interesting because they are gender fluid, so Alex is gender fluid, so Alex is basically a he and a she, so I prefer to refer Alex with they, so you wouldn't get confused, even though most of the time Alex is a she, but still I would refer Alex with they. So Alex is also a demigod and an Inari like Magnus, and Alex is a child of Loki. Alex is a badass. Alex is also a shapeshifter, and that's basically made them the newest coolest character of the book, besides Magnus of course. And also Samira, I love Samira so much. This is one of the reasons why I love Rick Riordan so much. It's because he doesn't afraid to put so much diversity in his book. For instance, Alex is a gender fluid. Samira is a Muslim woman that wears hijab like me. These kind of details might be a little rare to find in such important book. And I love Rick Riordan for putting such details in his book. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Samira is also Loki's daughter. Well, in his journey, Magnus and his friend have to face many difficulties. Like they have to go to Heart's home, they have to compete against giants, they have to search for the Skofnung blade. There is also this scene when it's like some kind of zombie apocalypse, when they try to steal the Skofnung blade. And in this scene there was Loki, and there was Randolph that is being controlled by Loki. Oh, Randolph is Magnus' uncle, and Randolph dared to stab Blitzen. It's not his fault because he is being controlled by Loki, but still, I hate Randolph. And after they get the Skofnung blade, they have to go to Heart's home to get the Skofnung stone. Basically, Skofnung blade and Skofnung stone is a pair. They wouldn't work except they are together. But the thing is, the only family Hart had was his father. And he is such an asshole. He is really a douchebag. He blames Hart for his wife and his another son's death, even though it's not Hart's fault at all. And he treated Magnus and his friends so badly. I wanna punch him in the face. But after a lot of struggling, Magnus and his friends basically get the stone and trade it with a magical ring. The magical ring made Hart's father go nuts. It's like he is crazy from greed, and well, that's what he deserves. I'm not feeling bad for him at all, because I hate Hart's father as much as I had Randolph for abandoning Magnus. Oh, and there is this one heartwarming scene when Samira told Amir all of the things that were going on. Amir is her fiancé, by the way, and they made such a cute couple. Another cute couple was Magnus and Alex. I would go mad if they didn't end up together. Back to the story, after they get the Skofnung blade and Skofnung stone, they visit Thor, and Thor told them that his hammer was stolen by a giant. And this giant wants Samira as his bride. Yes, the giant wants to marry Samira. But they got into some plans that Samira and Alex would exchange roles. So Alex would be the bride But yeah, it kind of worked because they are siblings after all, so they kind of have the same vibe. They threw so much, but I guess that's kind of okay because they go through it together. And at the end, they managed to get Thor's hammer back, but they also free Loki from its chain. The chain that used to prison him. So basically all of it was Loki's master plan to get freed. So Loki arranged the marriage and he set up the wedding place to be in his cavern so that the Skofnung blade would free him. Such a sly fox, isn't it? But I guess it's just Loki being Loki. And the ending leave us with much of a cliffhanger because Loki got freed and Loki wants to start Ragnarok when most of the other gods and also the human wants to avoid it. And then Magnus came with a plan, and the plan is to talk to Annabeth, his cousin. Well, I personally think that it was a great idea because Annabeth will definitely give you some pro tips. And in the last chapters, Annabeth said that she would bring Magnus and his friends to meet Percy. Percy Jackson. The Percy Jackson. Can you believe that? In the next book, there will be Percy in it. As a RIORDAN fan, I love Percy so much. That's why I'm so excited for the next book. It is actually out already, but I haven't got it because I barely finished this book. So it's not a wise choice of me to buy the new book already. But since I finished this book already now, I think I will gonna buy the new copy of the latest book so that I could read Percy. And I think that's pretty much it. I hate cliffhangers. But overall, this book is so fascinating. I really like RIORDAN's works because it was all so funny and hilarious. The characters are so alive, and as I stated before, the diversity. His books will always have the right amount of everything: romance, humor, action, adventure, drama, and it's all so good. So if you're a fan of fantasy books, I recommend you this series of Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard and also another RIORDAN's work because it's also worth it. RIORDAN always have the kind of sassy main character and I love sassy characters. And what I like about Magnus the most is because he is so human. Even though basically he is just half human, but he is the most human character I have ever read in a book. He's a hero, sure. He knows how to fight, he knows how to use swords and stuff, but he isn't afraid to be afraid. That's just the realest thing you could find in a hero. Because what makes you hero isn't that you are fearless, but that you have fear and you overcome it. That's why for me Magnus is totally an awesome character because of that. And I also love Samira for a total badass. And Alex was a total badass too. I guess I have this crush on Loki's child. Seriously guys, Alex and Samira was the it girl. But they are badass and I love them. And each of the characters have distinct and exciting background story that make them more alive. Magnus, who lost his mother, Alex, who lost his father, Hart with his only family that is abusive and crazy and an asshole, and Samira with his Muslim background. It's also diverse and so exciting. The concept was already pretty good and RIORDAN managed to deliver the message excellently. I rate this book like 4.8 out of 5. So you can tell that it is a pretty good book. Yeah, it's a pretty good book, guys. I recommend you guys to read the book. But don't forget to read the first book first. It's easier to understand all of the things that happened here. This book has some flaws, obviously, because RIORDAN is just a human after all. But that doesn't make this book less exciting and less amazing. Even though I personally think that there are a lot of unnecessary scenes, but I don't mind that much because the scenes are all hilarious and funny, so I don't mind. And this is overall a really good book that I recommend it to you guys. And I think I've talked long enough. But before I say goodbye to you guys, I want to read one of the best quotes of the book for me personally. You know, Magnus, sometimes it's best not to look as far as you're able to look or to listen to everything you're able to hear. Pretty good quotes for me, and it has deep meaning. I highly recommend this book to you guys because it's so amazing, it's so funny, it's so exciting, and it's not boring to read. And I guess that's all from me. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. See ya everyone!